Hey, welcome to Tell Me How You're Mighty, real talk about cheating. I'm Tracy Shorn, the blogger known as Chump Lady, where I implore people to leave cheaters and gain lives.
And I'm Sarah Gorrell, radio broadcaster by day, single mother of 4. And 13 years ago, my ex walked out on his family for his affair partner. And it didn't feel like it at the time, but my life is so much better without him.
And we're here to tell you that you are mighty. We survived infidelity, and you can too. And this is our podcast. Welcome. Today I'm here with my guest host, Jenny, the blogger known as the Happy Hausfrau. And today we're going to be discussing wandering dick entitlement. You were probably expecting cheaters because that's what we usually talk about. And we were going to talk about cheaters, but also the Epstein files, because that's in the news cycle a lot. And I have so many swirling ideas about this. And I thought, who better to bounce them off of than Jenny? Because I have this unified theory of misogyny. And there was this one guy, if you're not in the US and you're not following this, there's one guy, Representative Clay Higgins from the state of Louisiana, who voted against releasing the Epstein files. And this guy reportedly owes one of his 4 wives over $140,000 in back child support. And there's so many horrors. I mean, there's just so many, but that one, it just pissed me off so much that this guy got elected to Congress and he has a job. I mean, he's not in jail and he owed a mother of his children that much money. We will segue into that. And it just demonstrates that women don't matter in the public sphere and we need to get a lot more uppity. And I'll start there and we'll work our way through the various fuckwits connected with this scandal, like Larry, why does he still have a job, Summers? But before I say any more, welcome, Jenny.
Well, thank you, Tracy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, unpaid child support, it bonds us, really, doesn't it? I mean, although you win on the amount owed, but I just thought, do I have a unified theory of misogyny? And people might be thinking, what does this have to do with cheating? We'll get to it, right? But it's all about these people just wanting to be kings and queens and the rules don't apply to them. And, it's just like this horrible abuse of power. And I just thought, look, what did you think? Or are you just not surprised? Or
Honestly, nothing that these guys do anymore surprises me. But I do have to say that it is all kind of tied together, woven together. The misogyny, the cheating, the devaluation of women. It's a constant theme through every single thing that's been happening. I mean, from Epstein to Trump to that guy, is it Larry?
Oh, Larry Summers, the Harvard professor.
Yeah, it's a sick common thread and it's troubling and it's horrifying, actually.
And I think we're not the only ones who think this way. There was a really great op-ed in the New York Times the other day. I think I sent it to you. Jennifer Weiner. I'm not sure I'm saying her last name right.
I think she goes by Weiner. She actually gave me a shout out back in my early blogging days.
Yay! Essentially, she was making the point that we're making. And her article was about how everyone's kind of getting high on the Schadenfreude fumes, but nobody's talking about women's pain. And I'm just going to read one little excerpt from it here. I think she ends on this note. She says, "These women, the victims, are not famous or well-connected, but they matter. Their pain matters. Their names matter. We should not co-opt their suffering for our own agenda. We should not value our Schadenfreude more than their courage." And I thought, excellent point.
Yeah.
I think that's what's getting to me about this whole story. And obviously it's been in the news cycle, but it's really heating up. It's just that women are expected to eat such shit sandwiches and to be invisible. And that the rules are just totally optional and really kind of silly. And you're overreacting if you expect anyone to follow them.
Yeah, we're told from the start to shut up and take it. It keeps going.
Yeah. And I think we have to just push back. I said I'd go fuckwit by fuckwit. I'm going to start with this Clay Higgins guy, okay? The guy who voted not to release the Epstein files. So politics is strange. People get involved. But owing that much child support is supposed to land you in jail. And he is a cop. He's an ex-cop, okay? So how did he even get a job in law enforcement owing that much money? Shouldn't he be arresting himself?
We should not be able to draw a salary. It should be garnished. Should.
Yeah. And I did a little Googling before this podcast to see, like, okay, am I casting aspersions? Did he pay that $140,000 plus interest? And I could not find any reporting that said he did. There's a story in the New Orleans Picayune, like from a couple years ago, saying it was still a mystery. And then some intrepid person put his actual court order with all the interest charges. I mean, he started tallying this money in 1999, and she didn't go to court, okay, until 2016. That's when this court order is in there. I'm just like, so it's not like she wasn't patient. It's not like she didn't wait, she didn't try. But so pretty much for the majority of those children's years, I don't know the particulars, but if you're going 15 years without child support, you pretty much raise those kids on your own, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And now what? Now they've aged out of the system. I mean, I'm just like, it's another one of those things, and I'm making a federal case about it because it really bothers me.
More people should make federal cases out of the refusal to support your own children. That should be such a horrible crime. It should be a felony.
It should be. I mean, and nothing else. It should be like when you're deciding between political candidates, why does that not just cancel you right out? Doesn't support his children, owes a lot of money.
Oh, well, I mean, people are willing to elect men who are unfaithful to their wives.
Right. Well, again, this is another women's, to get to Jennifer Wiener's point. Women's pain does not matter. And I'm not saying there are guys chumps who I'll probably get comments, but most child support, which is how I got off on this topic, is owed to like 82% women are owed child support. So it's a minority of male custodial parents who are owed child support. The vast majority who are owed are women. And I think it's less than half get anything.
That blows my mind because I went through that in the early to mid 2000s. And the fact that no laws have changed, hasn't been any groundbreaking breakthroughs, just nothing. And it blows my mind.
Yeah, it blows my mind too.
If the bra was on the other chest, this would be a non-issue. This would have never been born. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't have been an issue, but it is. It's women who are not considered on the same level of humanity as men.
Exactly. And okay, whoever this woman is who had the bad sense to ever marry Clay Higgins, and I'm not judging because I married two fuckwits, but it's like what she could have done with $140,000 in her life, and multiply that story over any woman's life who's owed child support, what that means to your children, what that means to your life, what you lost, what opportunities you didn't have, the margin of life that you did not have because you were working to make it up, right?
Yep. I often think that about my situation is I'm over all the infidelity and abuse and stuff like that. But what I don't think I'll ever get over is the fact that I missed out on my kids' childhoods because I was scrambling 24 hours a day to keep a roof over their head. And, it's just the whole unfairness of it all. And it's women who go through this. I know there's the whole men matter and all the what is that, men's rights movements, whatever, the parental alienation, thing like that. That happens too, but the majority of the people suffering through all this are the kids, obviously, but then women.
The show up people. And I started this whole segment off by saying we need to get uppity. We need to make it an issue. We need to vote our values. We need to talk about this stuff. And I know one of the big reasons why we're not organized, why it isn't front and center, is because we're exhausted. Because the people who it affects are doing exactly what you described. They're neglecting their children to keep a roof over their heads, right? I'm not neglecting, that's a hard term, but it's like you're overwhelmed. And the years that I went through it, and I did not suffer nearly as much as you did. I only had one kid. I wasn't trying to do four. But I had litigation abuse. I was being sued by a crazy person. In my opinion, I'm sure I'll hear from my husband, but it's true. I mean, I was exhausted from it, and you can't advocate for yourself when you're exhausted. And so I hope in this political moment, and maybe I'm being really optimistic here, but I hope there's a groundswell of people who are like, I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of entitlement. I'm sick of these men getting away with this. As I started by saying, wandering dick entitlement, which is what we're talking about. I'm over it. I'm tired. Just, you're that money, go to jail. You didn't pay it, seize your assets. If you don't pay your car, the repo man comes, right? So we understand how to collect debt.
Yeah, if you don't pay your mortgage, you lose your house. That's how that goes. It's one of these things that I don't know what it's going to take to change the tide. There are so many injustices happening right now. And this is one that's been happening for all these things have been happening over and over for years and years. You're more optimistic than me. I honestly don't feel like this is something we're going to see a change of in our lifetimes.
Well, I think you have to like walk around with the shame bell, to use the Game of Thrones thing. Shame, shame, shame. I mean, I think you have to like start talking about it. I'm all about changing narratives. I've been trying to change the victim blaming one around infidelity. I hope we've made some ground.
You and I both have been doing that. We've been in 2010. We both started screaming it. Years later, has it changed?
I can be these. Yes, I think we've changed the narrative a bit. I think it is much less cool to be a cheater. I might be, maybe I'm a crazy optimist.
I think women are more open about it now. And I think there's more talk about it now, which is good because when we first started, there was nothing out there. It was all rainbows and sunshine, stay at home moms, messy bun, crying because oh, it's so messy. My husband will get home and be mad. And we were here like, we are raising these children ourselves.
Like, well, and the divorce shame. I hope that's going away unless you're in a very religious circle. I mean, there was a lot of that. Who are you if you're not partnered and you don't have an intact family? And I mean, I do think narratives change. And I do think in this moment, getting back to the Epstein stuff, here's something like in Jennifer Wiener's point, women's pain doesn't matter. I think the world is waking up and going, sexual trafficking of children. This is so horrific that we have to care about it. Like, that's one shit sandwich we collectively are not going to choke down anymore. But to think that for years, this guy's surrounding himself with underage girls, Jeffrey Epstein, and everyone's like a big shrug. Our intellectual thought leaders, our Bill Gates, our Noam Chomsky's, our Steve Bannon, I mean, all sides of the aisle are like, oh, yeah, oh, okay. So he has a little sex island and he's got all these like hot bunny girls, around him. And that's just a big shrug. And I think now it's not a big shrug. I mean, I think finally we're paying attention. I hope we are.
What did you see? What's her name? Megan,
Megyn Kelly, yes.
who has a 14-year-old daughter, by the way, was trying to downplay the horrifying reality by saying, "Oh, 15 is closer to 18." It's like, "Oh, honey, no. See, this is where I get if I'm in the right mood here, where I start to get to that super negative spiraling, and so I have to be more optimistic like you. I'm going to be more of a Tracy.
I'm not like a bluebird of sunshine, but I am feisty. I mean, I just think you have to keep fighting the narrative, fighting the bastards. And Megan Kelly, I believe her comment was, it was not like raping 5-year-olds. It's different. They're tweens, they're teens, they're older, they're more mature. They have boobs, they filled out, they've developed. I mean, I don't know. It was an incredibly offensive comment, and I hope it's on her tombstone. And again, I don't understand how she's employed.
I don't understand either. She had my sympathy for about 10 minutes there, but all gone.
Well, okay. Speaking of not having sympathy, I'm going to read another excerpt from this Wiener interview, and then your reaction, please. She wrote, "In Mr. Epstein's world and his gossipy, elliptical, frequently misspelled correspondence, women were often described in categories: Hawaiian tropic girl, my 20-year-old girlfriend in '93. That, after 2 years, I gave to Donald. Girls in bikinis, or simply the girls, and as in Donald Trump knew about the girls." In her memoir, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, the best known of Epstein's survivors, wrote that he liked to tell friends that women were merely a life support system for a vagina. 20 years after Mr. Trump mused about grabbing women by the genitals, Mr. Epstein's emails are an unwelcome reminder of how some powerful men think and talk about women. Yeah, I suspected it. I'm not a bluebird of sunshine. I mean, I know I'm not alone for women my age, but I have had jobs where I think, yeah, they don't respect women here. It's not just me. I just think, you know, imagine getting the confirmation of these email dumps. So it's like it's so much worse than we knew, right?
A life support for a vagina. I mean, if that doesn't just tell you exactly where women are, vaginas walking around.
Right. You're just an orifice. Well, when I write about infidelity, which presumably is what this podcast is about, but when I talk about being a spousal appliance. And I'll refer to, affair partners as the orifice du jour because, I mean, my language is blunt, but I'm trying to show how transactional these people are. you're a vagina on a life support system. You're just meat, right?
Well, yeah, women are just not whores, holes.
And so why should you matter? Because you're nothing to the great ones, right? You're nothing. You're just disposable. And so to change the narrative of going, I matter, well, how dare you say you matter? How dare you center yourself? And it's this power dynamic that we're pushing up against.
Yeah, it's bigger and darker and goes deeper than we could have ever imagined.
Okay, that's an excellent segue to Larry Summers. I wrote about like 2 days running. I had so much like anger inside me about this story. But okay, Larry Summers, for those who don't know, was once the US Treasury Secretary, and he's still a professor at Harvard. And I think that's a very elite category. Like he's not like an associate or emeritus, like he still teaches. And after this whole Epstein letter dump, he went back to work and said that he had to fulfill his obligation to teach. And there was such an uproar that they didn't shit can him, okay? They put him on paid leave while Harvard University investigates. And I'm like, what is there to investigate? The guy was taking dating advice. He's very married, taking dating advice from a child rapist. Like, no one is going to look at you as an authority on anything ever again. Get off the stage.
Would you see the video of him talking to his class? He announced it to a classroom or something about everything that was about to come out. I mean, why wasn't he just kicked out right then? Like, why didn't they just drag him out?
I don't know. I mean, that's an excellent question. Or like nobody like stood up in that class and said, "You're a loser. Why are you here?" Like, I mean, everybody's kind of timid, and I get it. We're from the Midwest. You want to be polite. You don't want to be confrontational. But I mean, like this is so egregious. Larry Summers also, it should be said, had a scandal before the Epstein scandal where he said that women's brains were inferior, and the reason that women weren't in STEM was because of their lady brains. And they weren't willing to work hard enough. That was also part of it. I guess that's where all our intellectual brain power is going, to our vaginas. And he still kept a job. I mean, like, why was that not a hanging offense?
And not just any job. He's not, like working at the hardware store. I mean, this is a job where he has great influence over thousands of young people.
Right, and the economy. And he believes, and apparently Harvard believes, because they haven't fired him as of the time we're recording this, that he has a God-given right to perv on his students. I mean, in these emails, he was talking about one of his mentees, who is an Asian woman, and somebody released her name, using racist slurs, talking about who she's dating. I mean, perving on her. And he still has a job. What is this about? I mean, it's kind of to bring it back to the cheating sphere and the domestic sphere and away from these Uber people. It's like when you go through a messy divorce and the people around you know that this guy doesn't pay his child support or walked off for his schmoopy or whatever, but he's still invited to the barbecue. And you're like, do these crimes against humanity, do they count for nothing? Does anybody judge this guy on his character?
I don't think a lot of people do. I think they might do it silently, but then we have this huge bystander effect going on.
To like employ Larry Summers, it's one thing to politely kind of turn your head and go, "Oh, yeah, that was creepy," but to like keep him on the payroll.
Yeah, that's accepting. That is completely showing where your allegiances are, what you're willing to accept from a person, a man.
And what's the message to women? I mean, don't you think the message is shut up and sit down? Like, I'm sorry you have a problem with that.
It's exactly what Jennifer was writing about, that the shit that we go through and the pain and the frustration and the anger we feel is nothing. It's allowed to have it and we're not allowed to show it. And God forbid we start talking about it. It's so gross.
So how brave are these victims to like not only bring it up, but not give up the fight and to have to share their own suffering? And I think that that's a story throughout time of that if you want to be noticed, sadly, if you want to be taken into account, you have to get these powerful people to either shame them through your suffering, to go like, look, this is really what's happening. And it takes a lot of vulnerability, a lot of strength to be that vulnerable and let people know. Because of course the shame washes up on you, right? So God bless them for bringing this story forth.
Yeah, they are warriors and super fierce, and we should all be so proud of them and supporting them and doing what we can to keep their voices amplified. And so people keep hearing it. Especially now, the news cycle is like boom, 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 boom. It's just, one thing after another. And to get these stories and to get their faces out there, I mean, for them to even be out in the public like that, I don't even want to know what they're dealing with behind the scenes because I'm sure it's horrifying.
I hope they're getting applauded.
I know that the big money people in the world are quietly helping them and supporting them. Like we're the Beyoncés and the Lady Gagas of this world.
Yeah, I hope they're out there. I mean, okay, I've got one more other op-ed I wanted to discuss with you on this subject. So I have my unified theory of misogyny, of why they're doing what they're doing. But there was another op-ed called How the Elite Behave When No One is Watching inside the Epstein emails. And this was by Anand Giridharadas, I think is how it's said. She said these are people who they want to be the deciders. They are the global elite, right? They have this knowledge economy. It's like that they set the tone, they decide for everybody. And so doing this giant look at all these emails, what she finds is that they have their own little language about access, about who's in and who's out, and they're communicating with each other. I know this sounds conspiratorial or whatever, but they very much self-identify as global elites. And what they value is having knowledge that other people don't have. And that we're the plebes, right? We're not the deciders. We're not the inside crowd. And they even work to make sure what news we get is different than what news they get. And whether that's insider trading or owning media companies or whatever. I mean, it's so nefarious and dark and weird. But I can't help, again, but look at the power dynamics in a cheating relationship. It's exactly what I talk about when you're trying to discover someone's double life. They're the decider. They have all the information. You don't have a need to know. We talk about trickle truth, we talk about whatever, but it's an abuse of power.
That's what it boils down to. That's the same as in marriages that go kaput, the cheating, parental, some families. It's a power thing.
Right. And the mind fuck is when they tell you they're not doing that. We're all equal. Of course I value you, Jenny. Of course I want to hear your opinion. Meanwhile, I'm typing to my friend Jeffrey. She's a vagina on a life support system or whatever, and you're wondering why you're not getting the promotion or why your child support's not being paid, It's because they won't let you know they're playing cheater ball.
No. And how can we escape it? Look who owns all the social media platforms.
Yeah, but they don't own this one. I think that's how you move it forward, right? You've been screaming here since whatever, 2010 before? I don't know.
I can't remember that far back.
So I think we should end on a positive note, even though we did not get our child support, but we have the love of our children. And for any newbies listening who are mad at the whole world and everything right now, we do get our families, right? You got your kids.
The good outweighs the bad. And in the end, what matters is that your relationship with your children is functional and loving and supportive. And I've got that. And I know you've got that. So I think we're doing okay.
Yeah. And what do they have? They have more money, but they're fuckwits and they can stay fuckwits. And
they got lots of money, but they also have cold, dark, dead souls.
Reach out to us. You can check us out at tellmehowyourmighty.com or check out the blog at chumplady.com. I'm always open to your suggestions there.